Good morning. All right, we're going to do something a little different today. Something a little bit different. Let me see if I can get situated. Good morning. Getting started a little late. And I had to... PC's doing an update this morning, so I figured I would just go live out here on the deck, talk to the folks, see if you guys can hear me. Try to see if I can. I haven't done one of these in a while. I used to do this when I first started going live. I love to just come out here on the deck and just talk to people. I didn't have all the green screens and didn't have all the fun. Sometimes it's fun to just do it this way. This is like the old way, the old school. And so I was looking at a few things this morning. How's everybody doing? First of all, who we got this morning? How y'all doing? Renee and Kia and Mark, Yvette, Christine, Renee. Good morning, good morning, good morning. A lot of little good discussions going on the internet this morning. Kelly, Estella and Rebecca. I got pulled into a few discussions this morning. I'm not sure that I'm going to touch on that too much. I'm not sure if I want to go there. Sometimes people, you got to let things die, right? Sometimes you want to de-escalate things. You don't want to escalate things. You don't want to escalate things and make them worse. Man, we have enough problems. It's like poor people, we have enough problems. We don't need to invent any problems. We do not need to be fighting between ourselves. If you find yourself fighting with somebody and they don't have $1 billion in the bank, you're not getting the world's problems. You're not getting the world's problems at all. We have no poor people we need to fight. Every problem we have, it all has to do with this whole colonized world problem. Every culture, everybody was colonized. So I won't go into the details of what what was being talked about this morning, but I'll simply say this. Wait a minute, first hold on. I'll get my coffee. This is my favorite cup, by the way. Y'all see this is my favorite cup right here? It says the world's greatest dad. My kids gave me this cup. It's a complete lie. I'm not doing but they want to make me feel good. My kids, they want me to be happy. They wanted me to feel good. So they gave me a lying cup. Not the world's greatest. I'm a bare basic pop, but it still made me feel good to get this cup. Hold on. I had to tell you something. First, I got to make sure, see who's here. Let me see.
Are the elite blacks here?
If they're not here, I can talk about it.
Are there any? Did you guys bring the wealthy blacks? If you didn't bring them, then I can say this.
Okay, so I'm sick of being called names, y'all. Y'all know names. Names are just racist. Names are just don't call me no names. I don't know. So somebody called me a POC. And I get it. I do. I love people. I love people because they want to be sensitive to you, right? They want to be sensitive. And I feel that. I do appreciate that. But I'm just... And now, mind you, the person who called me a POC, which, by the way, if you're in corporate America, POC does not mean person of color. Oh, Lord. POC means proof of concept. And I was thinking about this for a little bit. So wait a minute. That actually does make some damn sense. Now, people of color, that don't make no damn sense. If y'all want to classify people, please put them in categorizations by solar energy. Okay, you can call them certain percentages. They have more DNA, the 7 genes that regulate skin color. They were closer to the equator at this particular time, outside of the fact that we all evolved from the same people. We all evolved from the same ethnicity, but they're people, they want to take their identity back to a certain time stamp and they want to give it to you and then give it to everybody else. So first of all, let me tell you something.
Are the rich blacks here? Make sure the rich blacks didn't come in the room.
Because it's rich black people who came up with this. Let me tell you how this works. I'm just going to keep it real and just play that. Every couple of years, they come up with a new term for us, right? It's the colonizer mindset. I'm going to tell y'all right off, the rich black people do not like black people. I'm going to tell you, I grew up around these little bastards. These bastards, if they got $1 billion in the bank, they're not nice people. But let me tell you, so this is how it works. They come up with a new name, African American and colored and black and, you know, whatever they, and then a new one is POC, proof of concept. Well, they mean proof of color. No, not proof of color, proof of color. They mean people of color. So don't name me, don't label me. And this is what we talk about, right? This is the colonizer slave mindset, right? You put people in categories so you can control them. You put people in fencing. I don't need another fence, y'all. I just got out the African American fence. Don't put me in another one. Don't listen to the rich black people. The elite black people are sick as the elite white people. They're sick as the elite Asian people. They're sick as the elite Hispanic people. Don't listen to none of this nonsense. Stop. We don't need new fences. You know, the analogy I have for that, it's like you just get out of the African American fence and mash the okay, dang it, the blacks done got away. They got away. We need to put them back in the fence. Here, you got a lot of money. Here, go on out there and make a new fence. We're going to call it POC. Go put them all in the POC fence. Got to keep everybody divided. Keep them fighting. And that's really all it is. That's all it is. You have colonizers who went around this world. They drew lines around everybody, all the cultures, all the tribes, all the people. And then they hired these rich elite minions to come up with new fencing. And anytime a fence breaks down and people start to realize, oh man, I don't think I want to be African American no more. I don't think I want to be white anymore. I don't think I want to be this anymore. I don't think I want to be Mexican anymore. I'm just a human being. Why can't I just be a human being? They see the fences are falling, right? They see the chain links are starting to rust, it's falling down. And then what do the colonizers do? Damn it, we got to make a new fence. And so they hire their minions to go out there. So I appreciate the feeling to want to be sensitive to me and call me a POC. I'm not a person of color. I'm sorry. I'm a human damn being. That's the only thing that means anything. It's the only thing that makes any sense. I don't need your fencing. I'm not going to be in your fencing. I don't need to be on your team. I don't care anything about your team. I care about human beings. If there's one poor, hungry kid anywhere in the United States or the world, it doesn't matter what race they are. It doesn't matter what fence you put them in. Like, the fences are there for just control. I don't know how many times we have to relearn this in history. The fences are there to control you. It's like I was looking at Afghanistan this morning. And so in Afghanistan, they're trying to figure out what's wrong with the Taliban. The Taliban always wants to fight. They always want to fight. Even Africa, all these places, what's wrong with them? They want to fight. Everybody wants to fight. We're just trying to help you. Maybe the Taliban want to fight you because they're not Afghanistanis. Maybe Afghanistan is just a border that some very rich person drew around a whole bunch of tribes and cultures, and they don't want to be associated with the tribe and culture. And I know the first thing people say, oh, well, the Taliban are mean people. They do bad things to women. Oh, yeah. Tell me one thing that they do. I'm questioning everything now. I am. I'm questioning everything because I realize I've been lied to my whole life. Tell me one thing the Taliban has done to women that we don't in the West. One thing. One. I'll wait. Tell me one thing. Everything that they do to women, we've done. Everything that they do to children, we do. We legalize today. Everything Hitler did. There's always this idea that there's pagans over there. They're doing bad stuff. They're doing bad stuff. And it's just foul because they're basically taking people who have a different culture. They make a demon out of them, and they try to get you to be okay with going over and bombing and making war and making them like you. Like, we have to stop that. We have to stop the fencing, yo. There are 7 billion different types of human beings on this planet. That's it. That's it. There's no classification. There's no fencing. There's no more colonizer, anything that you need to put on them to help the 1% control them. We got to get away from that. So, that was the fun I was having this morning. I was thinking about, I said, POC. I said, it actually makes sense from a POC perspective because it's a proof of concept. It's not people of color. We all are POC. We are a proof of concept. They had a conceptualized ideology that if they dominated the whole world and they drew fences around everybody, every culture, that they could turn us into these little ignorant minions that fight amongst each other, right? Like, that's the only way you dominate the poor is you break them apart. And you can get them to do anything you want. You can get them to fight each other. You can get them to cheer your wealth projects invading other nations. You can get them to cheer anything you want. So, no, I'm not a person of color. But I am a proof of concept, I guess. I guess we all are. I mean, they're right. They had this idea of how to invade the world and take it, and they took it. They completely took it. So, not interested in your new fencing. That's the understanding that you have to. Wealthy black people are not on the side of poor black people. I'm going to tell you that time and time again. Poor black people are on the side of poor white people, on the side of poor Mexican people, on the side of poor Palestinian people, on the side of poor Afghanistan people. All poor people are on the same damn side. Got it. Let's just get that out there. I'm gonna get that out the way. All right. So hopefully I'm done with that. There was a very specific topic that was being discussed, and I'm not interested in the topic. You know, it had to do with Claudia and Debbie. I'm not getting into it. I already gave my perspective on it, people. There's drama, and then there's effective discussion, and all of that stuff was just drama. So anyway, what are y'all talking about? Burqas, child marriage, stoning, beheading people in the street. Okay, Estella, good question. Okay. So first of all, from you can't wear what you don't want to, you can't wear something you don't want to wear. Do we do that in America? Do we do that in the West? Yes, we tell people what they can and can't wear, and you can actually go to prison if you're in the street wearing the wrong thing. Child marriage, yes, we do child marriage. When I was in a church back in Maryland, there was a 14-year-old that was going out with her mother, dating grown men. I reported them to Child Protective Services and I don't believe in it, but I don't believe in child protection today. Back then I did. And I made the call because it didn't feel right. And guess what they told me? It's okay, as long as there's a consenting adult. So we do that too. Stoning, have you ever been to prison? We do worse than stoning. You know what they do in prison? They take baby oil and they heat it to a very hot degree, and they throw the baby oil on other people. Right? So we do that. And we put the people in prison. We don't monitor them. We don't watch them. So we're responsible for all the captives in prison. So we do that too. Beheading people get beheaded in the United States all the time. Decapitated and disappeared. Thrown in lakes. So everything the Taliban does, we do. The only difference with us, though, is we legalize it all. We normalize it all. We normalize the wars. And outside of like all the beheadings that tend to happen that hit the news, why did they occur? They occurred because we invaded a nation. We destabilized a country. We brought about a condition of poverty and scarcity and violence. And the psychopath, the warrior genes they do what it do. You know, they became violent people, and they do all of these things. So even outside of the fact that we support all the stuff that the Taliban does in our recent history or today, we definitely bring about conditions in countries we invade that make all of that normalized. So so this is what I'm saying, is that I'm not interested in this idea that somebody else is a pagan. You help people by educating people. I don't believe that you go bomb people and then you force them to live your culture. I think you show them what's best in your culture. I think you show them through example that, you know what, women aren't cattle. You know, in the West, we still treat them that way. We do. Let's be honest. We still do, you know. But when you show people that you can build a better society, when you love people as opposed to forcing them to be like you, like I believe in self-determination. I'm always about self-determination. At the bare bones of everything, leave people alone. So that's what I'm saying when I think about that. Let me see some of the comments. It's hard to see comments on this little phone. Man, I'm a privilege. I'm using my technology privilege. Y'all see, that's a little bit of my aquaponic system behind me. Those are the pipes for the water, and I grow plants and that and everything. And I think there's some citrus back there and some other stuff I'm growing. But it's a mess. I'm not ready even. I'd give you a walk through that when all that's set up. Just tell people that they are exceptional to really stir the pot. All right, Christine, I'm with you on that. Lisa, agree with you on Claudia. Yeah, Lisa, and like I said, I don't like to get into that, and I don't want to go back down that pathway. I just, very simple. Let's keep it very simple and basic. If you were in another person's shoes, what would you do? That's all you got to do. I've been in Claudia's shoes. I've been in rooms where I was the only one, and I was not welcome. I've been in clubs where I was the only one, and I was not welcome. I've been in all different types of situations where I looked at them and I knew the situations they were looking at me because of my skin. Claudia was in a situation, they were looking at her because of her skin. She didn't feel comfortable. She said something. Now, mind you, she got upset, which is what happens when you're in a room where they look at you like you're funny. And she voiced her opinion. At that point, wise people should have taken over and said, well, Claudia, this is the setup. We're sorry. We know you're not from the country. You didn't grow up here. We're racist because we're America. We're retarded on all sides, everywhere. We're stupid. We still focus on skin color. So this is why it's set up, but and that it could have been easily derailed. This is what I'm saying to people. De-escalate. Don't escalate. Don't make more problems. We already have enough problems. We need to let it go. And what after that is y'all attack Claudia. And so what did Debbie do? She got her girlfriends back, which is what she was supposed to do. She got her girl and y'all had this big battle. So people want to go back and point fingers and say, oh, don't post videos by this person and that person. Don't engage in the ignorance, y'all. That's all I'm saying. Don't engage in the ignorance. Don't engage in the drama. Poor people have no reason to fight poor people. If you don't have $1 billion in the bank, go fight somebody with $1 billion in the bank. Go fight the system that puts us all under the boot. But you're not helping anything by fighting other poor people. Debbie and Claudia have a phenomenal voice. I'm glad they didn't let that situation affect them. I'm glad they're still speaking out for minorities. I'm glad that they're pushing on. So I don't have anything to do with that, That's my take on it. Stop being dramatic. Let it go. Let me keep moving because I don't want to talk about that at all. Something else I want to talk about. The Prime Directive, like Star Trek. Yes, Olga, I am definitely a Trekkie and I believe in the Prime Directive. I believe in leave people alone, let them be, don't get involved. But I think that's what the aliens flying around, they believe too. We even break the Geneva Convention and torture people. Yes, Nancy. And this is my point, is that we normalize all the crap the Fourth Reich did. I mean, the Third Reich did, right? We normalized it. We made it legal. We're no different. We fly the ovens and we drop them out of drones now. We do all the same stupid, dumb things. We just made everything Hitler did completely legal. So I'm okay with us being isolationists. That's what I want to talk about, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you. So this whole idea that it's bad, that America's becoming isolated, that Europe is putting together new deals to figure out how to keep, deals going with Iran and selling them aircraft and things. And because of the sanctions, because America backed out of the Iran deal, American companies won't be making money from the sale of those things. They got to replace the components with like French parts and Russian parts and Chinese parts. I think it's a great thing. I think it's phenomenal. Let's do this. I'm good with it. I'm good. America needs to become isolated for a little while. I think we do. I think we need to be put in the dummy corner for a little bit. I think we've gone too far. I think the world needs to become sustainable without us. I think we need to go back and figure out, our humanity. I think, let me go down to the comments. We need to go back to fix our problems. We need to stop making more problems in the world. So this is one thing that I'm okay with, certainly, that Trump is doing. And that is we need to be isolationists. We do. We need to come back and figure out where we went wrong, how we became so violent. Because there's no American leadership in the world right now. Let's just don't call it leadership. It's not American leadership. What we have, Vinny the Nose does not lead anything. All right. That was a post I had this morning. Vinny the Nose is not a leader. When the mob sent him to your community, he was there to tell you what to do. He was there to kill, murder, beat people up. He was a hired thug, right? That's what muscle is. And right now, America is the world's is the muscle, right? I don't know who they work for, if it's banks or oligarchs or whatever. We're just the muscle. We're not providing leadership. We bring a pipe and we'll break your kneecaps if you don't sell us coltan for cheap. If you want to end slavery or, if you want to do something in your country that we don't like, we'll beat you up. We'll send some drones and some bombs. So I think the world should become isolated from America for a little while. I do. I think that'll be a great thing. I think if the world can become sustainable without the violence that America brings, which is our economy, I think the wars will come to an end. I think that sustainability is everything, right? The world needs to become sustainable without America. Let America figure out its own little violence problem, break apart the deals it has with whoever owns the military industrial complex, and then be reintroduced back to the world in a sustainable, non-violent way. So I'm okay with that. I think we do need to be isolated. So I'm happy for Europe in what they're doing in terms of not going along with America. Let America do all the sanctions it wants. It's going to hurt initially. Let the other countries step in. Let them build her. Like, we got to get to a place of peace. And we're never going to get there if you think Vinny the Nose. If you think Vinny the Nose is bringing world leadership to the world, then something else. So I'm okay with it. I like it. I love. Where's my coffee at? Somebody took my coffee. Hold on. I like the idea. Let me look at the comments. I like the idea of America being isolated. It's important that America should be isolated. America's got a lot of problems that we need to figure out. You know, we need to have some economy issues, right? We need the military industrial complex to fall. You know, these defense contractors need a lot less money. And that's the only way any type of world peace is going to come about. Another nation needs to step up. When you have an equal world, you have a fair world. When you have an unequal world, you have a lot of violence and aggression and bullying. And unfortunately, that's all Americans being used for right now, is we're being used to bully other countries. Uh-oh, y'all still on the Claudia W. topic, I see. Well, hopefully that's over. Oh, another thing I posted this week, I thought was good. So we also need to have real discussions around the poor, right? We need to have real discussions around enabling the poor and not doing nothing, right? The left is wrong in terms of welfare and giving people fish. Don't give people fish. Give people some land. Give people a farm. Give people the ability to take care of themselves. Like, we know we have a massive unemployment problem. We have a massive underemployed problem. They lie about the unemployment statistics. I think we need this. And this was an idea I had a long time ago I was telling you about. We need 40 acres and a mule for everybody. I think if you are in the United States, you deserve 40 acres and a mule. I think there are people who, if you gave them a farm and the ability to go grow some food, you gave them the ability to do something sustainable instead of sitting at home and getting welfare or working for a big ignorant corporation that's making the world worse. I think that, one, we would have food in the country, which means that when our next depression comes, people will be eating. It means you'll have healthier, stronger people. They'll be eating better food. They'll be stronger because they'll be out there working. I think you collapse the welfare programs. I think that you empower people. I think that our only sustainable way of making it with 7 billion people in the world and 240 million people in America is you need sustainable people. But colonizers, they don't want that. They don't want you to be sustainable. They want you to be dependent. They want you to be in your fence, which is why they give you a new label. You're a POC. You're a proof of concept. You're a proof of a concept that they had and they conceptualized to make you a slave and dominate the whole world. Let me see. What else we got? They focus us to follow their rules, though. Well, Lisa, and you're right about that, right? Like, they come up with these ideas, and we buy into the ideas, and we speak their ideas into reality. And I know I talk about
The rich black people.
I talk about them all the time because they're bad people, but to a degree, they just buy into the rules, right? They were just born in a location where they had power over people. And so they use their
Black privilege.
to dominate. And they're just mini colonizers. They're no different than the elite of any other race. And we have to stop buying into these ideologies that it's a good idea to give people a label, put them behind a fence so other people can tell them what to do. So you're this person, you need to do this. You're this person, you should listen to this. You should go here. You should be that. We shouldn't have anything to do with any of that. Like, all of that to me is insanity. It's still in the colonizing model of enslaving the world, you know, and every race does it, but it tends to be the billionaires of all these races. And so we need to get away from that. We need to let all that go. Let me see. No electricity, condemn houses as unsafe. Lisa, I'm not sure where you're going there, but, you know, I was looking at, where is the place where the building burned down and all the people died and there was a lawsuit? I was looking at, I forgot where that was. But, you know, in America, we have more empty homes than we have homeless. Like, you know how sick that is? Do you know how sick it is to have more homes than homeless people, but not let them in, right? It's that, again, it's the hoarding, colonizing mindset And so I think all the people died in that building because they were in the building and it caught on fire or something and it collapsed. That's cold and it's heartless. That's cold and it's heartless. That's the same colonizing mindset where you don't want to take care of people. I don't believe in for-profit health care. I don't believe in universal health care. I believe in if a person has a need and they're a human being, you take care of it. It's what we've always done. We're a collective. If you have a house and the person needs the house, the person should get the house. Like that's what I believe in. I don't think because you're born into a wealthy family that you have the ability to have 22 houses, right? Like that's birth privilege, and that's more damning than any other kind of privilege is birth privilege. So no, I think that we go back to a time of understanding that all this technology, all these houses, all this wealth, all of it was taken from our ancestors, all of our ancestors, no matter who you are. And because certain people are born into the families that took it, they think that it's a good idea that they keep it. I don't think that's a good idea. I think to a degree, we probably got to work a deal without them. I'm not saying storm the rich people and take what they got. I'm not one of those type of persons, but we have the ability to make houses for everybody. Like we can literally let all the billionaires keep everything they got, and we still have the automation, the technology, and the ability to produce everything that everybody needs. And so what? Okay, it was London. Okay, so we can do that. Homeless people don't need to climb into buildings that are falling down, that are fire hazards. We can give them what we need, but we gotta stop with this. We gotta stop with the POC. We have to stop. We gotta stop with it. You don't put up a new fence. Don't put me in a new category. I don't need to be in one. When they do that, and then, and let me tell you the other thing they do with it. The other reason they put you in these little fences, racial and religion, all this nonsense, is because if you're there, they'll give you this argument over there to take care of your people in your fence. And they'll give you another argument over here to take care of the other, the other people in the other fence, they're okay. They got privilege. We don't need to do anything for them. Their poor people aren't as devastated as our poor people. They come up with these ideas. And then while you're sitting there fighting each other, they take home the kitty. The wealthy people who run both fencing sides, right? They take home the kitty. And then they got the sellouts in both fence who are at the top. They're at the top of the community in that fence, and they do okay. And everybody else, it sucks for, and nothing ever happens. Yes, Sandra, it's the mindset of greed, right? It's that I call them colonizers, but it's really, that's what it is. It's a mindset of greed. It's taking away other people's self-determination to hoard. And we all got a little bit of it. Unfortunately, many hoarders. Is why the other thing I think we need to do is we need to teach the kids to be different. We need to teach the kids not to be like us. We screwed up. We were given the screw. We need to not give our kids the screw and indoctrinate them. When the kid is born, don't give them a race. Don't give them a religion. Don't give them anything. You live your life and you let that creature become what it should be. And if it's watching you and your religion actually is a good religion and you're a good person, and it's love and it's not a cult, and you don't think Israel's a religion, Israel's just a country. It's just a greedy country like all the rest who just, they're willing to kill and murder a bunch of people for power, that they're not a religion. Somebody tell South Carolina, by the way, Israel's not a religion. Tell them it's a country. The politicians in South Carolina, they don't seem to get that. What is it, July 4th or July 1st or something? They're going to start, it's going to be it's anti-Semitic if you talk bad about Israel. Don't go to South Carolina, y'all. It's going to get bad down there. They don't seem to realize their politicians didn't go to daycare or something. When did they teach us Israel was a country? Somewhere in grade school. They didn't go to grade school. They didn't pay attention, fell asleep in class, and they actually think Israel's a religion. It's not. But anyway, so if they grow up and they see that, your religion is about love, that you're loving people, you're not forcing other people to do anything. You're not killing people. You're not murdering people. You're not forcing them to wear burqas. You're not, beating them because they're a certain gender, right? If they see that, then the kid's going to adopt it. If they don't see that, they won't. So don't indoctrinate your kids to it. If they see that, it's a good idea that I join a racial community, then let the kids go do that. But don't put them in a box from birth. Don't give them the problems they'll fight with the rest of their life. That's why I think we have to raise kids to just be whatever they want to be. Don't give them the same social ills we're fighting with. Give them just good stuff. Give them freedom. Teach them what freedom is like. Teach them what leaving other people alone is like. Teach them what it's like to solve your own problems instead of going to politicians and begging rich billionaires to solve your problems. Like, yeah, stupid that. Oh my gosh. I didn't know I was going to talk about today. I was like, I was called a POC. I'm not a POC. The hell is a POC? Corporate America, that's it. But it's a good concept, though. It is. Yeah, we are. We're not people of color, but damn it, we are a proof of a concept. It's a proof of a concept of colonizing the world and putting lords and different layers of governing and governance in between us, between the king and the people. That's another thing I was thinking about this weekend. Somebody tell me if this is true. I don't know if this is true. I think it's true. I don't know. Somebody tell me. I think government came from this idea of the feudal system. I think the kings and the queens and the lords, when the kings and the queens, when they took over everything, they wanted to govern colonies. Like they had these colony things, but damn it, it's 4,000 miles away, 5,000, 3,000 miles away. I can't govern hundreds of miles away. So they put a governing structure in over top of the colonies. Did governments come from the kings and their need to govern colonies at a distance? I was thinking about that because I think the reason a thing is created is its intent and the only reason it serves. And you start looking at admiralty law, and I know we were talking about the United States Corporation. I'm just wondering, our governments, did they actually just come from a need to govern the colonies in a way where the colonized would think that they were self-governing? But in reality, we're all still serving some sort of central power. I know I got friends that believe in the Illuminati and I guess the banks run the world, or even that the Queen still runs the world. I got the feeling, though, that governments, all they are is they're control structures for central management, and we're all still being centrally managed by a feudal system or a banking system. Alice said that started with Alexander the Great. I'm a little foggy on history, but that's what I'm thinking. And I'm not anti-government. I don't even want to think I'm anti-government. I mean, I don't believe in a government. What I think is governments serve a purpose, and we need to have order. But the problem is law is actually opposite of freedom. So the idea that we have legislators that constantly write laws means that we'll generation to generation have less freedom. So that model doesn't work, of having hundreds of legislators writing thousands of laws and thinking that we're going to be free. We're basically enslaving our kids every law that gets written. But I agree, there has to be rules, right? We got to have rules. I agree with that. But very simple rules. Governments are supposed to be small. They're supposed to have little power. They're not supposed to have drones. They're not supposed to have tanks. And this is where we got into trouble, is our governments have these things and they take more because it gives them more power. So I believe in small government. I think that we really shouldn't have much of a government. I believe that probably 99% of the laws in the United States all need to be deleted. I think if you're in another country and you're looking at America like it's a model to follow, that everything's so great here and we got a lot of money and you want that lifestyle and you need to understand where that came from. That didn't come from our government and our governing and the laws that we have, and it's because we're all so free. It came because they invaded the world and they grabbed a lot of the world's resources. After World War II, there was no one who could oppose the American government, and we had the biggest military. And ever since then, we invented the petrodollar and these things that gave us a lot of wealth. So don't ever be confused that when you look at America, it's because America's so great. I think we have a great model in terms of a constitution. I think that we got a good start, but I think they screwed us from the beginning. I think that the whole governing concept was about still keeping the kings and the queens in power and giving the slaves, us, in the little fencing that we have and the borders that everyone drew around us, keeping them under control so that the money can still keep flowing up to the king. So I'm definitely a small government person. I think that in the future, though, I don't think government should exist. I think that I am an anarchist. I believe that children, when they're born, they know what they're supposed to do. I think when you're born, all you really need to be given is a sense of a collective, that you're a part of a whole, and love. And I think when you have that, kids will develop things, and they develop in a way of helping other people and helping their society, not being what we give them today. We give them this competitive thing, right? We give them this, it's good to go to school, get a job, be smarter than the other kids, be better. Sniff their butts. I was talking about sniff their butts this weekend. You know what? Oh, this is why, let me explain this. All right. So when I said, I don't want y'all to raise kids to sniff each other's butts, I was thinking about a dog eat dog world, right? I was listening to a song and they were talking about it's a dog eat dog world, right? And it is a dog eat dog world because we raise kids to sniff each other's butts. That's why we're raising dogs. So of course it's going to be a dog eat dog world. We raise them to sniff out the competition, find out who the others are, take what they got, outbeat them, compete them, because that's why dogs sniff each other's butts. And wolves, they do that because they want to know, who are you, what you been eating, where the food at, should I kill you, are you a friend, do I know who you are? Like, they get all that from an anus. I don't know how they do it. Don't ask me. That's just, it's deep. It's a long discussion. But we raise kids to make a dog eat dog world. We raise kids to be competitive against each other, not a collective and working together. So I don't think we're there yet, though. I don't think that like tomorrow we can turn off government. I don't think we can do that. But I think we need to start embedding in the kids and in each other that we do need a small government, that we need more freedom, not less freedom. We need less laws, not more laws. And I think it means that if we do that, then in our lifetime, we might actually be able to fix a lot of problems and stop competing with each other because because you're over there in the Mexican fence and I'm over here in the American fence, but I'm also in the POC fence and I'm in the Christian fence and I'm in this fence. You know, instead of competing with each other in the other fencings, you know, having a collective mindset of looking out for each other, right? Not using our birth privilege to come down on each other. That's kind of where I'm going with that. Let me go back to some of the comments. Brother Mark, oh, got something funny. Who let the dogs out? We let the dogs out. That's exactly who let the dogs out. We let the dogs out. We train the kids to be more dogs. And then we complain about it's a dog eat dog world. It's going to be a dog eat dog world because we keep raising predators. We teach them to be predators of other human beings, and we shouldn't teach that. Let me see what else. It's hard to see the comments on this, but I'm going to try to go with the comments. See, that's my computer privilege. It's like I got computer privileges on a big screen. I get down on this little screen. I got to squint. I'm an old man. I got to look real close to try to see it. Be better than your neighbor. Competition creates sides, which perpetrates division. Yes, Amanda Boudreaux, you're spot on. That's exactly, and that's the problem. We have this colonizer greed hoarding mindset, and it's based in getting the forced labor to fight each other. And as long as we're fighting each other, we don't get anywhere. And so we got to stop perpetuating division. We need to drop these labels. We need to drop the competition. We need to stop being selective about where we apply aid, right? Because that's another reason that they put you in those fences. That's another reason
The rich black people
invented the new word, the new label, person of color, POC. You're a POC. Because they want to be selective about where they put aid, right? They want to be selective and they want to say, well, let's just give aid to the inner city. Screw the trailer parks, screw the farms, screw the poor people everywhere else, right? That's why they do it. You know, it's the whole thing when you fill out a form, they want to know what color you are, what race you are, right? It's that same thing because they play selective games in where they give the resource. Instead of helping all poor, all kids in poverty, they just want to help some selective kids in poverty. And that's really why you have a left and a right, because they divide you up that way. And it's just, to me, it's stupid. You know, if you're born to a poor family, it doesn't matter what color they are. It's just dumb. The color of their eyes, the color of their feet, that's just dumb. You just don't want to be raised in a impoverished environment, because if you do, you become violent. And then they complain about you when you become violent. It's just crazy. Yes, Jasmine, we need creative cultivation. I love that word. We need to cultivate kids to be creative. We need to teach them that they're all beautiful. We need to teach them that They're not a color. They're not a race. That wherever their genetics came from and what solar energy did to it, that's not who they are. They are. They, they are them. Somebody said that's what POC is. No, POC is proof of concept, girl. Yeah, who's that, Alice? In corporate America, it's proof of concept. That's what it stands for. That's why people they were calling me Alice. I won't go back. You had to go back watching the beginning. I don't follow this stuff. I don't watch the news, and I don't go with the new. What are the elite of a certain race telling me I'm supposed to do, supposed to be? So your POC supposed to stand for person of color. I just disagree with it. I don't think we need any fencing. I think the fencing needs to come down, and I'm tired of people getting hammers and nails and screws and going up and propping up a new fence to cause more problems. People are just people. Alice said, I thought it was a DNC position. Yeah. Well, if we're talking about the same thing, division is a DNC position. Yes, it is division. Is it GOP? Same thing on the other side. It's a division. They all use division, but I don't want to go there. I really don't want to go there. I hadn't talked about this stuff in a long time. It is certainly a reverse racist position to belittle people who are not minorities, right? That is their position. I'm just going to be raw and real for a minute. They come up with racist terms to fight racism, right? They come up with terms like white guilt, white privilege, things like that. They come up with these things that are racist. They come up with these things to anger people on the other side because they know to get everybody fighting. They try to create this guilt. Right. They try to create a guilt where they make you feel guilty for something you didn't do. Right. You didn't own any slaves. That you didn't beat anybody. In fact, the odds are, unless you got $1 billion in the bank, you didn't even come for the 1-2% people who did. But they give you this guilt. And when they give people that guilt, what it is, it's what an abuser does. You know what an abusive husband does or abusive wife? This is what they do. They make you feel guilty about something. They make you feel like it's your fault. Right? Because that's what an abuser wants to do. An abuser wants to control you. They want to abuse you. And so that is really what the DNC does do. They do that because it's an old narrative and it's the mindset of the abuser. And once you feel that guilt, you feel like, well, maybe I'm supposed to be beaten. Maybe it's okay that he hit me. Maybe it's okay that she hit me. And they give you this psychological mind screw with that guilt to abuse you. And that's what I see them doing. I see the DNC abusing white people, and that's what they do. I know I don't like the word white people, but I have to say that people know what I'm talking about. And so they give you this abusive guilt, and then they can tell you what to do. And then you wake up as a white person, and you're beating yourself with a pain stick. That's what they have in America. It's called, I know, if you're in another country, I know it's crazy. This is stupid. This is really stupid, but this is what happens. And so you beat yourself constantly for something you didn't do. And we don't need any of that. What we need strong people who are proud of all ethnicities, who don't feel any guilt, who can stand up to the actual root cause of the problems, which is greed and hoarding and this colonizing mindset. We don't need anyone to look in the mirror in the morning and feel bad because solar radiation did something to them. That's just dumb. It's dumb. But that's why I left the DNC a long time ago. I saw their racism coming. Yes, racism. I saw it coming a long time. If you use race to categorize people, belittle them or abuse them, you are racist. And so I did see that. And that goes back to this morning's discussion, which was from a year ago, which is why I don't want to go back to it. But I saw that being used against my friends. And I have no interest in that. I have no interest in you making my friends feel guilty because their skin's a different color from you. We need to stop dividing. We got to stop getting behind leaders who want to divide you, because that's not leadership. That's the same thing as America in the world. America has no leadership in the world. It's just a bully, and it's violent, and it's an abuser. The same way in the DNC and the GOP. They don't have, I'm hitting DNC kind of hard. I just want to make sure I put the GOP in there too, is they come up with these abusive mindsets. They come up with this abusive leadership, and that's not leadership. That's just a bully. It's a bully who uses hate to get you to do something. Anything you do with hate just creates more hate, right? Love heals hate. hate doesn't heal hate. And that's why I can't have anything to do with American politics, because it's always about getting you to hate somebody else, or getting you to talk them into hating themselves. And they create a whole bunch of problems from it. So let me see. What else we got in comment? Everybody, all kind of people. I see all my friends going live. I don't know why the comments are working now. Notifications. I see a whole bunch of my friends going live. So I know some of y'all, just like me, when my friends go live, I like watching 2 and 3 different eyes. But anyway, they make them into their wedge issues to get votes, all the while doing and changing nothing except their own wallets. Yes, Sharon, that's exactly what they do. That is precisely, and they're great at it. They're phenomenal. They pull in some of the most intellectual people I know, some of the smartest people I know, and they get them to back dumb things, which is why I say it all the time. When you hear these racist terms, you need to tell people that's racist. When you hear people, using, if race is in the term anywhere, it's a racist term. It's a racist term. That just, and we have to stop speaking in ways that offends people, because you never know anybody's pain. You never know where they're from. You might have grown up in a impoverished environment, but you don't know where anybody else grew up. You don't know how bad they had it. No matter how bad you've had it and you're in that victim mindset, there's always somebody that had it worse, right? Always. Let me see. I didn't know I was white till I came to the U.S. Yes, you. Ulrich, yes, that's exactly. But this is America. This is why the world, Ulrich, they laugh at us. They laugh at us. Y'all just laugh at it because we just dumb. We're just stupid. And white people aren't even white. It's like pinkish and tannish and whatever, and it depends. You get in the sun, it changes you again, right? So it didn't even change you in evolution, change you now. Black people too. You need mocha, brown, almond, whatever you are. You go in the sun, you get darker. Solar radiation just does things. I don't even know if it's racist anymore. It's like solarist or something. Like, it's just stupid. It's just stupid division. We got to stop that. Once Obama bombed more brown people than any white guy, I realize the system is racist against us all. Yes, Shuristan, say the truth, girl. Just put the truth out. Just lay it right out there. Glad you said it, not me. But I'm backing you up, and I'm completely agreeing. No one bombed more brown people ever in the history of the world than the brown president. Why does that work out? Not because I think he's all that bad of a guy. It's because that's what the office does. It puts people in to take advantage of those people. And so he did what he was told to do, which is why Trump is doing what he's being told to do, which is why, people who think, oh, he's going to fight for the blue collar. He's not fighting for the blue collar. It's not how this works. Love is evolution. Yes, Alice, we got to learn to love each other more. We got to learn to stop fighting with each other and stop with the drama, stop with the division. If you're dividing people and you're causing drama, and you're escalating problems with other poor people, you are the problem. You're part of the problem. Don't be a part of the problem. I should be a part of the problem. Ain't no fun to be part of the problem. We have enough real problems in poor people who don't have $1 billion than to go out and make a bunch of problems we don't need to deal with. Gerard, please join Just Inform and send me a friend request. Okay, I'll take a look at it. For permaculture life, yes, permaculture is definitely about being strong. It's about taking your life back. Permaculture and growing, being sustainable, being strong. It's about being strong. And strong people don't need their government, right? Strong people, they don't need a big government. They don't need the DNC. They don't need the GOP. They don't need politics. They don't need any of that. They can take care of the damn self. They can speak their mind. They don't need anybody. But needy people, dependent people, they need government. They need infrastructure. They need all of this. And it's a mind screw, because the government's going to continue to grow unless you become strong. And every law they write is more freedom taken. And so we get marched into slavery and a completely unfree nation. And that's where we screwed up. We got to go back to being strong people. So you got to grow food. You got to learn to take care of yourself. You got to be more of a minimalist. Don't be so ignorant. Don't be into the consumerism, because the consumerism is just another colonizing thing, right? The more you spend, the more it props up the system. They want you to prop up the system because they want to make more money. That's what we need to do. I totally agree. I left a certain party when 2 of their main leaders said all white people are white supremacy people. Ellen, and I'm glad you left them, because that's racism. That's just more racism. Like, I call it well-mean racism, but it's still racism. Like, white supremacy, first of all, white doesn't exist. Second of all, we're all supreme in our own ways, right? You know, you can be a black supremacist. You can grow up in an impoverished community. And even the top of the poor person there, you know, they're supremacist in a way. Like, none of that means anything. None of it. You know, I grew up around black people driving Benzes. I'm going to tell you, none of that means anything. It's all a lie. I don't even use those terms. Anytime I see somebody using white supremacy, I don't, it's not calling them out. I don't like to say call them out. I explain to them that that's a racist term. Let it go. You're trying to abuse people because of their race. You're trying to give them guilt, or you're trying to give them hate. It's the same damn thing. We need to stop using these terms. We need to grow up. That's what we need to do. We need to grow up and focus on the actual problem. It's not other poor people. Race is a construct. Yes, it is. It's definitely a construct of a colonizer, Ukraine. AI could replace DC in all ways that matter. Just open source. Yes, brother Mark, you and I think, Mark, I look at what you post. You and I are from the same cut. Like, you know software, and you know what open source is. We need an open source world. That's what we need. We need an open source world, and the cost of everything drops. Everybody gets what they need. No one centralizes power. And that's evolution. To me, that's love. That's evolution. You look at something that's better than what you have today. You put it in your kids that this needs to be what's normal. And then you push it into your government to bring it about, and you share it with other people. So anyway, that's what I was thinking about this morning. I appreciate y'all joining in, and hopefully it was a good conversation. I don't ever mean to offend anybody. If you fall into any of these psychological mindsets that I'm talking about, I'm not saying anything against you, and I apologize if I offended you. It's not my goal. My goal is to have open dialogue about important topics that divide people up, that cause more problems. We have a lot of people who need help. We don't have time fighting with other poor people, and we got more people in prison than China, Russia combined. We don't have time to fight over race when we've got children in Gaza running into sniper fire. We don't have time for poor people. This is the time poor people need to be talking. This is the time that poor people need to try to figure out how we lost. Because we lost, y'all. We lost. The elite ruled the world. We completely lost. And the only way that our kids won't all be slaves together, everyone who's fighting, is if we stop offending people. We stop with the racism. We stop with the guilt. We stop with all of this nonsense, and we grow up. It's time to grow up, people. Let's grow up. All right, I got to get going. It's good talking to you guys this morning. Low tech. It was fun to do low tech for a little bit. My eyes hurt. You know. All right, people. Y'all have a good day. Don't be a proof of concept. Don't. Their concept doesn't work. Colonizing the world and borders, it sucks. Taking away freedom with law every generation, it ends in a very bad place. Don't be a proof of concept. No pox. No pox. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.